Today we're going to be discussing Nuun Sport Hydration tablets, as in none of your business. Now these are electrolyte tablets that you drop into your water that you can mix and drink for sports hydration. If you are new to this channel, welcome. My name is Eli Gary. I'm the owner and founder of Warrior Salt. It is my own electrolyte brand, so I am biased when I make these critiqued videos, but I'm also coming from a good place because I care about the quality and the efficacy of these formulas, especially when it comes to hydration. So if we dive deep into this Nuun tablet, you will see that the sodium content is 300 milligrams of sodium. It's got 150 milligrams of potassium. It has 25 milligrams of magnesium, 13 milligrams of calcium, and 40 milligrams of chloride. Now, when we look at the sodium content first, 300 milligrams per serving, it's a little on the lower end, but I'll take it. You know, typically, if you are an athlete, which is this is supposed to be marketed towards, you are typically going to be losing at least 500 to 1,000 milligrams of sodium in a relatively, good effort, training, or game that you'll be involved in. So that's why I like my electrolytes to be typically on the higher end of sodium, but we'll continue to go into this. On the potassium side, it has 150 milligrams, as we mentioned, and this is a bit kind of high because typically for a good marker, you want to have about 3 to 5 times less the amount of potassium compared to sodium. So in this case, the sodium is 300 milligrams. If you take and divide it by 5, that would be 60 milligrams of potassium, or on the higher end, if it was only 3 times less, then that would be 60. So basically 60 to 100 milligrams of potassium would be the range for this, but they're going a bit high in the 150. And the reason why I mention this in all of my videos, you don't want the potassium to be too high, because if it's too high, it can tell the body to dump too much sodium, which can cause you or the athlete consuming it to get cramps. It's not always the case, but it's just a general good rule. Now, when we look at the magnesium, like I said, magnesium is not all that important, but it's good to have some in here, 25 milligrams. I don't really have an argument with that. They could probably go lower, but it's fine. Chloride is fine. Now, it says it has 1 gram of sugar. This is supposed to be marketed toward people, as an everyday hydration drink, which is kind of confusing because it says sports hydration. So if it's sports hydration, everyone isn't playing a sport. But this is a very popular brand that is sold all over different type of markets, Target, Walmart's, grocery stores, supplement stores. So they're trying to market to everyone. But 1 gram of sugar really doesn't help with the electrolyte absorption. You typically want to have at least 2 grams of sugar to push into the electrolyte. To push into the body quickly and efficiently and absorb it. But maybe they're marketing it to low carb keto people, so maybe that's why. Now, but if you look at the quality of ingredients, and this is where I have the biggest feud with a lot of these brands, is the quality of the ingredients. Remember, the first ingredient that you see on any product is always the most, and then it goes on from there. So the first ingredient in this is going to be citric acid. And as I mentioned before, this citric acid isn't derived from citrus fruits like lemons or limes. This citric acid comes from a lab that is created from a type of mold. Now, it's not the same mold that you're going to find in your home, but it is not natural. And it can cause, digestive issues, and it's just not something I would recommend, especially as the first ingredient. They do this because it also has a citrus type of flavor taste, and being as this flavor is a lemon lime, that's probably why they put it in there, but has no benefit to your hydration. So citric acid is the first ingredient. Second ingredient is another ingredient I really don't care for, which is dextrose. And dextrose is a type of sugar that's derived from corn. It's usually GMO, so very poor quality. And even though this only has 1 gram of sugar, considering that the second ingredient is dextrose, this can actually spike your blood sugar much more than sugar. Dextrose typically has a glycemic index in the 90s to 100s, as opposed to just regular sugar, which would be only between about 60 to 75 on the higher end. So this dextrose would spike your blood sugar more than table sugar, which is pretty wild. Now, the next ingredient, or third ingredient, would be sodium bicarbonate, which is basically baking soda. They try to go fancy on you and call it, more of the scientific term. Baking soda obviously isn't bad, but is it something that I would want to be consuming as an electrolyte? Probably not, because the way it is derived and processed typically is not going to be easy on your stomach, not going to be easy on your digestive system, so it also can cause some side effects. Again, it's not the worst in the world, but why not just put real salt in this thing? But they're trying to make it a tablet, they're trying to make it easy to, put in this tube and probably easy to drop into your water. But, you could be using real salt. You could be using some nice quality mineral salt, and they're just not doing that. Now, the next ingredient on this list is potassium bicarbonate, another form of potassium, which is not a good quality. You typically want to use potassium chloride. That's what most electrolyte brands use because it's easy to digest, easy to absorb, and usually gentle on the stomach. Now, the next flavor, and it says, and less than 2%, but it says the next one is natural flavors. And we already know about this. I've gone on and on and on about natural flavors. It's literally not real fruit. It's just chemicals designed to taste like the fruit. And the problem is with the natural flavors is that they could be hidden in up to 100 chemicals, and they do not have to disclose what these chemicals are, so you have no idea what you could be drinking. So I always try to say, try to find something that has actual real fruit, like real fruit powder, something. So not a big fan. And then we have magnesium oxide, a very cheap, poorly absorbed form of magnesium. Although magnesium is not that important, just put a good quality form of magnesium, like magnesium malate or magnesium althionate, glycinate, but don't use magnesium oxide. But this is designed to be profitable, and this is how a lot of brands are, so they're just doing what companies do. All right, the next ingredient is going to be calcium carbonate. Again, calcium, it's not something you're sweating, you're not losing it through your sweat. You don't need it to be an electrolyte drink. They just want to say it has this amount of electrolytes in here. Whatever, you got calcium in there. Does nothing for you in this context, but it's in here. And then the last two ingredients are going to be stevia leaf extract, which comes from a natural source, is a sweetener designed to make things taste sweet. I just prefer to use real sugar, but stevia oftentimes contains erythritol, which is a sugar alcohol that is added to it. It's combined with it, and it can cause gut disruption. I personally don't like the taste of stevia, but I am biased. There's some people that do like it, but if you don't like stevia, probably not going to want to drink this. Now, the last ingredient is turmeric for color, because we got to color our stuff. We got to make it fun and, cool looking. I don't care about color. I care about quality ingredients and whether that ingredient is actually going to benefit me in my hydration and in my performance. Color, turmeric, it's fine. Turmeric is actually a natural thing, comes from a actual root, so no feud with that. But I personally I like my stuff just straight to the point, all from real ingredients. So if you're looking for something that's super convenient, it's going to have some sodium in there, some flavor, you don't care about stevia, then obviously you can go ahead and get Nuun Hydration. Obviously it's very convenient because it's available in just about every single store. But if you want something that contains real salt, real fruit, real sugar, no additives and no natural flavors, and actual real dehydrated fruit, then I would check out Warrior Salt. Links in the description, and let me know what your thoughts on Nuun. Do you like it? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Or is it just none of your business? I'm Eli and Gary. Thanks for watching this video. Like, subscribe. We'll see you in the next one.